to Darryl P slash artist in with the letter N recovery. What's going on, dude? Got part of the history. I got what you were saying concerning about your own situation of how to celebrate Christmas. To answer part of your video concerning about the worst Christmas ever when you were using, I don't remember a Christmas ever so lousy by my brother's drinking because in one particular situation where he wasn't drinking and using, we weren't screwing up Christmas. He wasn't drinking and using during the holiday season. Tried not to. You gotta understand something about troubles we had back in the past. Back in the mid to late 70s, David was already old enough to go into the military. As soon as he graduated from a special school, he was of age to be drafted in, or just about. All he had to do is sign consensus, so the family had to sign consensus, and he would be in. But we weren't at a draft at that point. We were past Vietnam. But my brother had seen Frogman, an old World War II movie. He was so impressed with it. And he also saw one of our cousins, distant cousin, but still, on how he was in the military as a Navy diver, Frogman. And my brother was enthralled with it. So that's the thing he had in his head. But he also wanted to be a Marine, as one of my uncles had been in the Korean War. So my brother had the idea of being a military man, so he did. Marines didn't want him. Navy took him. And he had history. Sometimes I don't talk about it as much because I'm not quite sure how it's going to be presented to all those who've got stolen valor in their heads. My brother had served. I got his copy of his DD26. The thing is, what he did in the military, that did some bad stuff. They'd actually got tossed out. I mean, that's the things I usually have a sensitive issue to because, yeah, as a kid growing up, I heard stories from my brother and I was doing the hero worship. And then as I got older, I wanted to check it out, see if they were legitimate or not. So one time, my brother and I, as two old farts, going over to a stand down, as a military gathering one time, and we talked to veterans, and they reacted to him as if he was one of their own. So it gave me a bit of confirmation from listening to his stories all these years of, okay, fine, now I can deal with what his past was, reconciled. I just never talked to him about that in the situations. But the stuff that got him tossed out into the bad conduct, I mean, there was levels a long time ago. I mean, you're 4-0 sailor down to a 0 square. How'd that work? Things happen to him in the military that are still too damn personal, and I'm not I'm not getting into it as much, but it did affect his personality a great deal when he came back home. It also affected his performance. The things he experienced in the military changed him, and sometimes not for the good. Where he had to do drugs and alcohol to get past some things. They tried. The military tried to help him out. He wasn't ready to hit bottom. Toss his ass out. They were going to give him dishonorable, but that would turn him into a non-human, or even a non-citizen. Both. At least with the bad conduct, at least he was still human and able to get around and live on jobs if he could. But if he wanted some of those other jobs, like law enforcement, denied. They weren't going to touch his ass. But he still talked about his military service because he was still proud of the damn thing. But only when he was clean and sober enough to do so in the first place. But prior to that, it was coming in a time where My mother had been a caregiver to both my grandmother and my aunt, moving from place to place to place. I've done this to you many times in the videos. I don't know if you actually watch some of that stuff or not. So I'm going to do another act like I did to you a long time ago there, Darryl. Open the maps of the Google, please. I'll give you a geography lesson. Yeah, it's part of the story, so hang with it. I got to deal with your stories, right? Deal with mine. So I'm going to Google Maps. I'm going into where I live currently in Rosamond, California, because that's my default right there. But if you would type out, kind sir, the San Fernando Valley, home, where everything else is going hell in a handbasket. So you look at California, you look at Southern California, this nice little blurb right above LA. And it's also right below the wedge, the desert wedge. Did you see two mountain ranges doing a diamond head on you? Or an arrowhead, actually. So a little place called San Fernando Valley. 38 years of living in this place. I moved from place to place to place in this geologic and geographic region here. And in one of the regions we're living in, we're bouncing from place to place, as I said before, taking care of an elderly aunt and a grandmother and a mother with a young kid, me and my big brother going into the military. Church across the street from our home in a place called Arleta, a street called Beachy and Wingo. Arleta, right next to Pacoima, on the other side of the Fry Freeway. West side of it, anyway. That was home. That place was home. We had a church across the street from us. Bought the property that we're renting it out for a while. And they were going to be pushing us to another neighborhood called Granada Hills, right by John F. Kennedy High School. Go Cougars, class of '85. My brother at the time was going in the military and going through his hell. By the time he got out, more than once, we were already living in McKeever, right by Kennedy High School. I'd never remembered him under the influence of anything when Christmas rolled around. Nothing. I remember him staying about a year, or just about, working at different places, bouncing from job to job, trying to keep ahead of Shore Patrol at the time. But we never had a holiday where, at least I don't recall, Ma or Dave going after and screaming at each other. Or him storming off and getting high or drunk. No. Christmas was one of those times we didn't do that to anybody. At least not my screwed up thinking anyway about the whole thing. Because it still scared the hell out of me what my brother was turning himself into. He loved Ma that much. He wasn't about to screw up on that one, but he was still trying to get past his own demons until he got back into the service and came back home. And during this time, my grandmother was already stroked. She had already been stroked and bedridden, half her body dead. Just useless. Three and a half, nearly 4 years living in a bed. Oh boy. Moving from hospital to hospital sometimes and having ambulances checking her out and nurses coming in. Mom, me, and anybody else doing the 24/7 caregiving on her. Yeah, it was rough times. David comes out of the military finally. And he's getting jobs. But we're going through the Christmas days without yelling and screaming at each other. Darryl, I'd seen my brother go in and come out. He goes in as a human being. He comes out as screwed up. A lot of things he said over the years, even in the meeting halls, I am not repeating. I want to maintain his dignity that much. But as for me, I really wasn't starting it just yet. The behaviors were setting in. You got to have the behaviors that set the foundation. My brother, unfortunately, he already had the behaviors set up. He was already doing the sampling. When Ma was actually working, maybe a decade or two earlier, maybe. Trying to remember on that one. She would come home and she would have a drink ready because my brother would be the bartender a long time ago. So my brother had already been established. My brother had already been established. He already had the taste. I was staying the hell away from this shit until later on. I was already developing the attitude of being an alcoholic. I was already developing the behaviors for it. An isolating son of a bitch who would argue sometimes. Moody as hell and didn't want to have anybody else around me at all. Didn't want to deal with anybody. So, yeah, my grades weren't exactly great because I was already in that kind of an attitude already. Give me a drink and maybe I would have been worse. I kept denying the damn hits that my brother would try to pass off to me before he got recovered. He's long dead, so I can talk about him in this fashion. My brother was still a good man somewhere. The damn disease has a way of taking out everything that's good and pure in us, or what we think it is. Changes us in ways we don't even like. I already seen how my brother looked as an asshole, and how alcohol and drugs affected his brains. I've seen his attitude. He was totally scared of my mother. He wanted to please her no end. He's firstborn. But this, I'd seen how when he was drunk and high and dangerous. I know how that stuff can scare the crap out of people. But the thing is, it just made me more pissed off at him. When he hit his bottom, so to speak, Ma couldn't deal with him anymore. Had to toss his ass out. And at that time, we were living on a street called McKeever. It was just by Woodley and Devonshire and Granada Hills. For those who are still watching and keeping track of this stuff. And my brother, oh boy, my big brother, the shit he had to put himself through. The stuff he would say in the meeting halls concerning about his adventures, trying to keep clean and sober, and trying to do his fourth step all the damn time. It made me wonder what kind of a person I was looking at and dealing with. I already seen him go into the military. I already seen him come out as a different product altogether. But then I'd seen how drugs and alcohol had changed him into a different person to the point where I didn't recognize him. Until Ma and I decided we're tossing his ass out in the streets. The next night or two, Ma and I are going our separate ways trying to find Dave. But I still had to work in different jobs for college would start up during those days. And one day he's coming through, and instead of holding on to my brother, I wanted to toss his ass out. I was so damn pissed. I was so damn pissed at my brother. And this never happened at holiday seasons. This was like in the summertime, or just about. He had to go through program. He comes back in. I think it was May or June that tossed his ass. He walked out actually, but we did toss his ass out. Takes his stuff, throws it into his car, and comes back in August. Screws up 30 days, does marijuana maintenance, and gets a new day one chip. September 18th, 1985. He had to admit I'd seen him do this. I had to be at the tag along, and I was at that. I was at for a long while. Problem is, I didn't want to admit it. I still had the damn bastard growing in me too. I wanted to avoid people like crazy. Well, yeah, one time I wanted to be part of the program, but I'd seen how people were before and afterwards. I wasn't quite sure if I was ready to deal with David, but it took me a long while to trust him again. Ma still had problems trusting him, but to the point where she had to, and he didn't let her down. He didn't let her down. And the thing of it is, when holidays came up, dude, when it came up, that's the thing that we didn't want to disappoint Ma at all. When the holidays came up, Thanksgiving and Christmas, that was the family holidays you never screwed up on because we didn't want to disappoint Ma. That was one force of nature you never wanted to screw up. We had already seen her worst days. We did not want to face that again. So we didn't have the time where David was drunk and stupid and didn't give a shit. He gave a shit. I wasn't quite sure if I was giving a shit, but I wasn't getting that drunk or stupid. No, I was just avoiding people like crazy. But when it came down for what Ma wanted, I didn't argue with her. That was a force of nature you just didn't go against. Looking back at the valley, looking at the Google Maps right now, it does give me a hell of a lot of nerves. It gives me a lot of heebie-jeebie memories and things that I've been through. And it still makes me sick to my stomach. It does. It makes me sick to my stomach on how the hell I was dealing with shit. I'm like, come on. I try to tell my therapist about this one. I try to tell my priest about this one. Yeah, I got clergy I talk to from time to time. A lot of it. A lot of videos he just doesn't... He's overwhelmed with a lot of people wanting his attention, apparently. But anybody else in his office watching the videos, they'll probably say what kind of a nut job I am. But the public already knows what kind of a nut job I am anyway by watching the stuff. So I talked about my brother in a lot of other videos. How much it changed me a great deal, and I'm still dealing with it. And how much I'm screwed up in the inside. I miss him. I miss hearing the stories he was in the military. He'd be talking, or talking about other things that he was going through in recovery. And when I was in the meeting halls, all I heard was the stories coming out of him. But very rarely would I be able to take the podium and talk. Because I can tell you that when my brother first got in the program, I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be part of it. But secretly, I think I was wanting to be one of these guys. Just so I could fit in. I wanted to fit in, but I could never fit into anybody. I had this kind of thing going on in me. Push people away, but I still wanted to be part of them. How does that work? I'm like matter and antimatter at the same damn time. I'm explosive on situations like that. Unstable. I wanted the people to like me. I wanted the people for me to be part of them, be part of a group, and yet I still wanted to keep my distance, keep my distance. What the fuck was wrong with me? It's not until I started reading the big book when I finally got into the program that I understood that holy shit. These guys are talking about it, or guys are trying to tell me about what was going on. They saw it in me, and yet I wouldn't admit it to them, and I was fighting them like crazy. And they were laughing about it because they saw the same damn thing happening, and every time there was a newcomer coming into a building. I was the newcomer all the damn time. I just wasn't ready, they said. I kept talking to my brother about it, but they wouldn't talk to me about it because I wasn't ready for it. God, was I ready for it? I just didn't know it. I didn't feel it. I didn't understand it, dude. Until it hit. All the year I was drinking like crazy. Didn't remember if I was blacking out or not. Didn't remember the stuff. I mean, the alcoholics in the buildings could remember it like crazy and laugh about it and joke about their first buzz and they joke about their first blackout and they're laughing about things like that. They're comfortable with the damn thing. Me, I'm still uncomfortable with the damn thing because I never wanted to be part of it. But part of me is still part of the program. I am part of the program. I'm still doing sometimes the push and pull. You ever seen that happen? Probably hadn't. Or maybe you did it and you don't even recognize it. You want it, but you don't want it. You don't want it, you don't want it. It's like push and pull, push and pull, push and pull, push and pull. I didn't understand one damn thing about it. I didn't understand what was happening to me. And it was rattling my cage on that one there, dude. It really was. And I couldn't deal with it. I didn't know how to deal with it. Shit, how was I supposed to be dealing with recovery? Recovery is an active thing. You're supposed to be active about it. You're supposed to keep doing meetings left and right. You're supposed to be doing the 4-step, 5th step, 6th step. You're supposed to be working on your steps. You're supposed to be working with immense. Reading the book left and right. To be honest, I haven't cracked it open since David passed away. I isolated myself from a lot of meetings. I don't know if we got any more meetings out here or not. There's no way for me to get over there anyway. And the meetings I know of, I don't think I built enough strong enough relationships with these people that they would actually try to find out what the hell was going on with me. Nothing. So yeah, you're talking about being isolated at this point over here. I mean, royally isolated. And it still hurts like a bastard. It does. I wanted to be part of that world, but it was through my brother, not through me. Not me crawling over there and saying, well, I'm John Weaver and I'm an alcoholic. The hardest damn thing is to say it. It was one thing. It was the hardest damn thing for me to even admit it to anybody. I had done videos about how I hit my bottom. Almost to the point where I was about to do a lot of stuff to put me into a police blotter in a newspaper, and that's about it. And you would have liked the headlines or anything else about that one. I had gone beyond what was supposed normal. No, I was going in there for devastation. And that was scary enough. And about to lose my life because I was hitting bottom and I didn't want to live. I didn't want to deal with my life. I didn't want to deal with anybody. You talk about at a point where you couldn't even describe how miserable one person can absolutely be, and I was there. I just wanted to die. So naturally I get a phone call. Naturally I get the idea of making a phone call to save my life. I was told, call your big brother. Okay, so I called Big Brother, now what? An hour later, Dave comes up, picks my ass, and takes me home. And that night, I go into a meeting hall, just sitting down, listening, and shut up, and being stupid about it. And that night, later on, coffee, warm summer night. And it was was where I met a Starbucks. We would talk until about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, then and left. But I made some choices. Next night, I raised a hand and identified. I guess it took me a long while to be part of that world there, dude. You say recovery responsible, yeah, the journey to it. But then afterwards, it gets even, oh yeah, it gets even more. But I'll tell you, right after David died, I thought I was going to get the support needed from these guys. Fuck. I didn't, actually. I didn't. Dave passed on September 8th, 2018. You think maybe I would have people coming over bringing me flowers or something like that. Try to see how the hell I was doing. Nope. Even when I talked to them about it, did I get any phone calls? Nope. Nothing. I got shoved aside on that one. More interested about my brother, or they pretended to be interested about my brother, I guess, in the meeting hall. So I discovered that they really didn't give a shit. At least, yeah, that's what I kept thinking myself. But nobody ever bothers because they're all busy in their own life, and if you're not there constantly in their face in the meeting halls, they just don't give a shit. Sometimes I got a bad feeling about Alcoholics Anonymous, you know. Yeah, it helps you out, but as long as you keep up with what their social norms are, maybe you'll get the social contact you need to keep your ass going. But you still have to depend upon a higher power greater than yourself. What happens if you happen to put that power as the group itself and they just backstab your ass by not supporting you? That makes me feel even worse that I can't deal with them anymore. I understand about the power greater than myself, and I can deal with that. I went back to church this year because I needed to. I needed to. I needed to be belonging to a group that actually sounded like they gave a shit. And I finally talked to the Reverend. We had an interesting phone call about a week and a half ago. Finally made the connection with each other. So yeah, I feel like maybe I'm part of something that's going to help me out through this one. I'm always saying Rev at this point, but dude. I wanted to hold on to something that was going to walk me through a hell of a lot of crap. Talk to a therapist about my life. That she and a group of her professionals are on strike against the company she works for. And seen her and talked to her in over 3 months. And that's why I moved majorly to the church for support. I still believe in the concept of Alcoholics Anonymous. The people disappoint the crap out of me. Try to put faith and stock in these people to a point, but after that, they're not there for me. So, I can't deal with that shit, dude. It's been a lousy Christmas in one particular form or fashion. But that one call last night, dude, that one call from an old friend of mine, I think that was helping straighten out what was left of the holiday spirit. And we talked for a good hour. And it was cool to talk to him. I met my friend back in junior high. He was 2 years behind me. His sister is about 1 or 2 years ahead of me. And we kept in contact every so often. It's cool to have people like that I can actually talk to about things. And I still needed to talk about my life story in videos because it's therapy for me in a way. It's therapy. I know people think I'm putting up my dirty laundry out there. Well, get your own damn dirty laundry and put it in the washing machine. You clean up your own stuff. I'm still living with my own stink. Enjoy that one there. Anyway, I had to get the shit off my chest. I miss my brother. I miss my brother a great deal. And during the holiday season, I miss him more and I miss Mom more. It was never easy losing Ma during the holiday season, dude. I mean, yeah, she passed away about a month or two after it happened. I mean, it was 2000. It was February 18th, 2023 that Ma passed. Had to remember the calendar date on that one. She didn't die during Christmas, thank God. You had seen the picture I've got over here, right? This one? This was her last Christmas. That's the little girl. The dog I'm still taking care of right now to this time. She's an old broad. Crippled a bit, old, blind, deaf, and she's still alive. We had her about a year and a half, I think, before that picture was taken. Ma with my Christmas hat on and a Christmas tree because I wanted her to be part of the Christmas spirit. I think that was about Christmas Eve, or maybe a day or two before that. But I just wanted her to have a Christmas tree. If she couldn't see she could see the Christmas tree itself that we decorated in the apartment. Not this place, but another apartment we used to live in. And we'd show her pictures about the place. And she'd still give her a critique. It's fine, but yeah, all right. Where's the hole, Ma? Well, you didn't see this and you didn't see that. I guess the last year she really didn't care because she still wanted to be part of it, but she was still a little out of it. The hardest damn thing, dude, is dealing with a holiday season that family's not there for you, either geographically or mortally. So it makes it harder for me to deal with a holiday season like this. It does. I mean, it's struggling like crazy over the damn thing. Put the gear all over the damn place. The decorations I got. I had the stuff scattered about. What pisses me off is I gotta soon take most of actually some of the stuff out and put it away. The trees I've kept up with the decorations on there and the stuffed animals. I like my stuffed animals. I don't know. I still miss my family. It still makes the season hard as hell to deal with. It's not the bitching and griping that Ma would make about Christmas trees left and right. Even if it was a small tree, she'd be bitching about the holes. She'd look at a Christmas tree and say, "There's holes in there." What she meant was there's spots that didn't have decoration or something on it that make the tree fuller and cluttered. She liked a cluttered tree. She really did. And decorations I've got would have been put on a larger tree, but I got a small tree, so it doesn't exactly work very well for me, but still. But I miss her, and I miss Ma. Uh, I miss my family, dude. I miss my family. Christmas is already over, but the season's supposed to be through your heart through the season, so I have to keep holding on to that hope and that faith. I need to. Anyway, I'll talk at you later, dude.